Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world at the moment. Welcome to another edition of the Renko Edge, where we look at the futures markets for setups for the week ahead in the world of Renko. So let's get straight on into a bit of seasonality as usual. Follow the same format today. Let's go to the charts. There we go. Nothing much really changing at the moment. Coming towards the end of November. Now, starting the softs there, maybe cotton picking up, getting a bit more bullish at the moment, and the upsides in orange juice and lumber maybe petering it out there as well. Still remember, orange juice very susceptible to hurricanes, so watch that for the volatility there. Meats, nothing much to talk about in the grains. Corn is sort of ending its weaker November and looking stronger through really December and the rest of the year. And then we've got soybeans still holding some strength, wheat still bearish, and rough rice should be bullish. Don't think that's what the charts are showing, but we'll have a look in a minute. Metals all pretty solid, reasonably bullish this time of year in the energy sector. We've got weakness there. Other than that, gas, which still continues to be bullish, but as you can see, as it gets into December and January, starts to peter out and go turn bearish, and we are heading more and more towards the Santa rally season. S&P, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, FTSE 100, even the Nikkei 225 and DAX all bullish through to the end of the year. So let's get into some charts now. Let's find them. There they are. Let's mute the site so we don't get any background noise. Right, let's start in the usual place, copper. So what have we got? We've got a bit more bullishness there, seasonality wise. You can see in the bottom corner there. Normally pretty decent this time of year, and we have had that reversal from that low at 4.38, but it seems to be a bit more sideways consolidation there. If we look at the Fibonacci, let's take the high to the low there, see if it's hitting anything key or ranging between anything key. It seems to be yes, this area here at 4.9665 to 5.14. So we're looking for a bit of sideways action at the moment, with the next two targets, well, the downside one 4.749, the upside 5.318, but currently the indicators all pointing south. Shorter and medium terms also weak bearish there. Volatility particularly ordinary there, nothing exciting to get things bumping around. So copper, we'll call that weak, bullish to neutral at best. And then gold, it's been a bit more of a bumpy ride after that fantastic October time that we saw, September, October, that huge run up. It did come off, and it has been coming off some more. Let's just put on Fibonacci numbers. You can see there that zone of support, call that at 3950, where it didn't really want to drop below. So looks like it's heading back down towards there at the moment, but it's also hovering around this 4100 mark. If it can try and hold here and push on to the 4400s again, that would be cool, but at the moment it's looking a lot weaker there in the gold world. As you can see, shorter term, medium term, pretty weak. But again, the counter argument is seasonality, normally good this time of year. The COP, commitment of traders, large speculators, still holding bullish, volatility picking up. So watch out for that possible upside reversal back towards those highs. But like I said, that key number there, 3950 at the support, if that does get broken, then we're talking 3800, 3650 down to there. It's going to be a similar pattern for silver. Got that sort of double top in around 53.5, and if I put on the usual, if we were looking for a downside support sort of area, we'd be talking 48.4, then down to 48,385 into there. Obviously you've got to break that key level, which is about $46. Like I said, looking a bit toppy, more favouring a downside correction into like that zone there. But again, exactly the same as gold. You've got good seasonality, not so strong though in the large speculators, a bit more neutral and picking up there on volatility wise, which is good. Short and medium term also not looking very interesting, so it looks like it's a bit toppy, like I said, in that sort of area there. So I want to keep an eye on for breakouts of that range. Platinum failed to push on back to the highs around the 1750 mark, heading south. Let's just draw that on. You can see there that zone of sidewaysness, action still pointing down at the moment, but support 1500, early 1500s there. If it breaks 1478, seasonality wise it's weak, and then it does pick up into the new year, so timing's probably a important one here. The large speculators are picking up, volatility dull, and then the short and medium term also pretty dull. So again, another consolidating range bound market there. And into palladium, we've been looking at this pattern for a long time now. It hasn't really done much. That sort of weak heads and shoulders type thing, where we'd be possibly looking for it to get into that sort of range there. As you can see, coming up to that key number there, which is around 1400. It looks like the support, so we expect some noise around here. If it does decide to break down, like we said, well, we got 1300 possibly as a target there. Next line, and it brings it into all that noise over there, but everything looking weak at the moment. The seasonality is similar to platinum, but the large speculators still holding bullish. Volatility again as normal, and trends in the medium short term weak bearish. Heading into currencies, dollar index, the dollar has been holding its strength after that double bottom in around there, and obviously that has an impact on the currency pairs that we have a look at. So we're going to jump into this other page in the shorter term, where I put the key futures contracts together here, starting with the Australian in the top left hand corner. You can see if that black line there is above the yellow line, that's the currency strength. It means the dollar is stronger, so we'll be looking for short trades only, which we're currently in. And actually, if we quickly go across all of the markets here, we can see dollar strength against the Australian, Canadian, the euro, Swiss franc, and the Japanese yen. But the pound, that's just breaking the trend there and looking like it's pushing up. So pound looking a bit more strong against the US dollar there, so that could be the play to the upside. But the rest, they all look like they're trending down. Maybe the Australian dollar there just turning around a bit, so it's a way maybe to time your way back in on that trade. And Canadian dollar looks like it's got some downside back to about 0.7089, that sort of zone there. Swiss franc, let me just pull that back a bit as well, also looking weak in down to that sort of 1.246 sort of area. And yen, always like the yen to trade on the futures market. It's often overlooked because of the way they flip the decimals round compared to forex trading. So flip the currencies around. It's Japanese yen first, and then US dollar, not US dollar, Japanese yen. But it does create some nice trends. It looks like it needs to break this low area just in here, which it's heading towards for further downside. So nothing too exciting there in the forex world. US strength, like we said, at the moment, so watch out for that. That always helps you put together the best pairs. Cryptocurrency, it's been not a great story in that world for the last few weeks, and as you can see there, Bitcoin still heading on south at the moment, and looking like next stop we're going to talk about 86,000 and then 81,000. A little small recovery this morning, but still looking pretty weak, and it's the same story for Ethereum. Let's look at some numbers. Breaking those lows at the moment. Where could it end up going towards? 2700, 2750 is the next downside, and you've got a bit of noise around there at 3500, which could prove the overhead resistance to stop it moving back up to that 3738 sort of number. So yeah, cryptocurrency not looking great there. Just go back to Bitcoin quickly. Just want to highlight the fact that we're there, and again we've got that noise. We had that breakout there just under 101,440, and then we've got a lot of noise up to that key 61.8 Fibonacci line, $106,740. And into energies, crude oil, not really much fundamentally driving this one at the moment. Like I said, we've seen the seasonality, it's weak at this time of year. Current signals just on a reversal, looking a bit more bullish. Got the commitment of traders down there, bearish. Seasonality, the weakness still goes through till sort of mid-December, early December, and starts to pick up for the new year. This morning we've got a bit of strength, medium term, a bit more flat, so nothing too exciting there in crude oil. Let's put some numbers on that. Upsides 61.87, $62. Before you see, actually you've got a lot of noise excuse me, around there. Downside next target 56 2/3, and then down to about $53 if that flips down and continues that weak trend south. Heating oil actually doing better than some of the other energy markets there, just picking up back outside. Got to get through that 2.6 high to push on up further. Seasonality the same as crude, and large speculators pretty flat, not much going on in the short and medium term. Nat gas, like I said, we had that nice run up, starting maybe to run out of steam a bit there. Let's just put that on. This looks like it's consolidating a bit around this sort of 4.5, 4.6 zone. If it can break up 5, 5.1, 5.2, next upsize, but it's feeling a bit weaker at the moment. So you've got 4.233 and then 3.905 as the downsides. The large speculators holding bullish, short and medium term neutral to weak bullish. So again, consolidation. So not much exciting really happening here in futures world for those longer sort of medium term trend patterns. A lot of consolidation, sideways noise going on. Other than really cryptocurrency that looks continuing its weakness. RBOB gasoline, can't really take too much away from that, other than you're in a neutral, weak, bullish pattern at the moment. And then into the equities, stock markets, S&P, is it gaining some momentum again to turn around into the Santa rally? It's had such a great year, really, after a start where we weren't too sure where it was going next, but it certainly has done better in the last 6 months. Let's put on some numbers. Got to get through those highs, 6935, and then it's up to the 7,000s, which would be amazing. 7,400 there, the next Fibonacci for something a bit longer term. But you know, even if we can get into that 7,000 zone, that would be quite amazing by the year end. We've got obviously seasonality on our side. Large speculators are weak bearish. Volatility starting to pick up, which is a good sign. 16-17%. Hasn't been, as you can see, going back there, very volatile. Expect it normally in the 20s this sort of time of year, so a bit more upside there on the volatility to go. And medium term, short term, so far today, this week not looking too exciting, but we're yet to have the open yet on the US. Nasdaq, again, looking at possibly a bit toppy, but it's countered by the time of the year that we are heading into. Seasonality, very good. Volatility just picking up a bit into the mid-20s. Large speculators still holding long. Neutral, maybe weak bullish in the short medium term. You can see that nice huge uptrend like the S&P 500 did. Let's put on our lines, and we've got this 24.25 for the downside support, but we probably even be a bit more aggressive in saying it's 24.75 that way. Got a lot of top heavy patterns, even a sort of a weak type of heads and shoulders, and that could bring it back down into the 23,000s, but we're looking for that push on upwards, and then we would be targeting 28.5. So got some good upside there. Over to India, the Nifty is still looking pretty decent there. Has recovered from a pullback. It's got to get there. It is high though. It is fast approaching that high. Where is that? 26,000. Nice round number. What have we got in terms of potential numbers? Well, like I said, get through that. We're looking 26.5. Pullbacks. First week one, 25.75, and then 25.5, and then 25.355. You can see it does like the old Fibonacci lines there. But short or medium term, it's looking one of the better markets to be playing at the moment. German market, again, a bit of a mess. The DAX heading south at the moment. Nothing too much exciting to report there. European market's pretty dull at the moment. Nikkei, again, one of the better performers. Japanese stock market, again, consolidating around those recent highs. Let's put a short term Fibonacci on that and then zoom in. See that consolidation sideways around the 50,000. It's another round number. 50,000 is the magic number, as the song goes. Got to get through 51,165 up to those highs, 52.5, and then 54.5. Any weakness, see it going down to 49 and the early 48s in there. But currently, it's still a long play, so almost, use your technical indicators to time your way in, and then into the softs. Cotton, we did see that changing seasonality wise, as you can see there in the bottom corner. It does start to pick up, so watch for any upside moves there, but at the moment it's all feeling a bit negative, so time your way in on that one. Coffee, again, we've seen a bit of weakness there. Let's pull that back because I think we'll see, yeah, it's been in this sort of zone. There we go. Got that noise around that 360, 370, call it 370. So we've got a lot of sideways, yeah, a lot of mess around there. You got that high over there around that similar 370 point. If you can recover 400, then up to the 435s. Downside looking 355, 360, and then that key Fibonacci around the 340 area, which would be under that low of September. Currently just turning round, so if you are bearish, time your way in. Seasonality wise, it's a bit messy until really the new year, when you get more strength in January. Large speculators on flat to neutral, volatility as normal, nothing there really on the short medium terms as yet. Orange juice, it's been heading south and still looking like it's going south. No major hurricane interaction to send it higher at the moment, so if we continue that trend, the next stop for it around 111, so nearly $50 worth of downside there, but it is volatile, so you know, at the moment 74%. It's a tricky one to trade, and you've got to be very careful with your stops, your risk management on that sort of trade if you want to trade it. Large speculators are bearish. Seasonality starts to turn bearish as well. So really, orange juice, you've got to say, is still a bearish play there. And cocoa, it's a similar picture at the moment. After such strength we've seen over previous years, bringing that, you know, up to new record highs, then it's sort of giving it all back at the moment. And we would be targeting downside 4.5 down to the downside if it breaks there. Medium, short term, weak bearish. Large speculators bearish. Volatility going down. So in cocoa, weak bearish at the moment. Sugar, nothing much. It's recovering from those lows around 14. Just topped out recently, just under 15. Maybe be back into this sort of 14, 15 range for a bit. Well, we got into meats. Live cattle looking like it's pushing back down towards 200. Let's get a bit more accurate. 213 and 205 next possible downsides. Feeder cattle, that's having a nice little bounce at the moment, turned at 320 area, and let's pick on some really short-term Fibonacci numbers, see where it can go. We might have a bit more upside before thinking about, you know, maybe the profit takers set in and take out something from off the table, back to 334, and maybe still trying to push back towards that 357, 360 mark possibly. And the hogs, where are the hogs going? They're very weak at the moment. Seasonality wise, just jumping over there to start with, it's staggered, but it does, you know, get stronger from sort of now onwards. But looking at that chart, you know, you will bet against the downside there, looking pretty desperate to the downside there, as we're looking like sitting another one of these nice trends down that we've been seeing. So in terms of downsides, we're talking 68, 69. Like I said, we looked at seasonality of short and medium term, also pretty weak there as well. So upside, or maybe resistance, 85, 86. And then let's have a quick look at lumber. Nothing much going there. Bottoming out around, nothing to get too excited about there. Into some grains, corn. Has it done enough? Interesting. It's weak at the moment, looking short. Possible pullback to this sort of area, which is 423. And then, like I said, that key 38.2 Fibonacci line around 410, 411, where there's a lot of sideways noise in that zone there, but currently it's weak. Volatility picking up, which is good. Large speculators down, seasonality starting to pick up, so it's a bit of a mixed bag there. So neutral, sideways there. Soybeans, has it got any legs left to the upside? Maybe a bit of profit taking and rebalancing there at the moment. It still should have a few weeks left of seasonality to the upside, but again, time your way in with the indicators. Just have a look. Like I said, it's that consolidation there between 1145 and all the ones down there. If it breaks, we've got 1085, then 1066, and then you start to hit that previous breakout there around 1050. At the moment, it's a short consolidatory type trade there, but as you see, still some seasonality left in there. Volatility is good for soybeans at the moment as well, mid-20s. And then you got the other soybean complex products, oil futures looking weak there at the moment, and the meal, very similar to soybeans, picking up that same consolidation around the top there. And then let's end with wheat. What's going on there? Wheat's been very disappointing. We're not really doing much of any significance. You see, looks a bit of a mess, really. Bottom in there, don't really want to get below that sort of zone there, 506 to 500, and doesn't really want to get above the mid, 500, 550, 555 there. So it looks like another range bound sort of setup for wheat. So there you go. That's a quick look at the futures markets for this week. It doesn't look too appealing to the upside at the moment. Maybe in the equities world, the Nifty and the Nikkei looking good. Downsides very weak there for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a lot of consolidation and sideways noise in a lot of the other markets. So there you go. That's the analysis for the week ahead. See some questions on back testing. I've got some videos out there on the channel, in the book, you can see over the shoulder, and in Python courses that I do. If you want to get it right, it is, well, once you know how to get it right for the back testing, it does work and it works well, but you have to get the variables right in there. But like I said, lots of other content and tools and equipment you can use. And just a reminder that we've got the November Black Friday sale on at the moment for all the digital products. Got on Renko Mega Bundle that puts together the book, Python courses, Renko bot build, free ticket to the masterclass. That's out on sale at the moment. Great offer, value in that bundle, plus all the other digital products, the books, previous master classes and tools, all on sale at the moment, plus the masterclass itself out in January. First 150 tickets are going, and they're going fast, and they're at £69 at the moment. Plus, I believe you get a copy of the book as well if you haven't got it already. So they're there for you. Check the website out, www.thestophunter.co.uk, if you want more information. So thanks for joining me. Good luck with the trading this week, and let me know how you get on in the comments, and hope to again see you next week. Thanks for joining.